Welcome to the On Our Way Home podcast. The goal of On Our Way Home is to encourage you to keep taking steps with Jesus, with a good local church, and with a few close friends so that we will stay on Jesus' path, a path of truth which leads to life with the Father. Welcome to the On Our Way Home podcast. We're really grateful that you're with us today. I think I must have preached a little bit too hard last Sunday because my voice is just kind of, hello there, a little too growly, but if you can put up with it today, we'll see what we can do. I'm Ryan, your host, and I'm joined today by Jessie and Eleah, two of our interns. And you're wrapping up. Yep. We have wrapped up officially. Mm-hmm. So we recorded a podcast at the beginning of your internship, and it's like, hey, what are we going to see? What's going to happen? How is it going to work? And now we are at the tail end, and that's really cool, and it's also kind of sad.
Yep. Yeah.
It's a happy sad. Would you agree?
Yeah.
So we want to talk about some of the lessons that you guys learned and some of the positives that you're bringing away from this internship. So how long was it, and what were you guys here for the last?
12 weeks, so 3 months.
3 months. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah, it flew by.
really, really fast. So what are some of the lessons that you learned? You can take your turns or whatever, if you can kind of talk about what are some of the positive things that you're walking away with.
Okay, I got the nod, so I'll go first.
Got the nod.
Yeah. I feel like I've learned a lot, even though it's felt like it's flown by. Whether it was like learning to work well with like those in the church and just the different positions, and learning how like who does what and who to go to for like what questions. Yeah. Learning that kind of thing versus like ministry-wise, like learning how to connect or like that kind of things with students. And yeah,
you can always go to Donna, our office administrator.
She knows everything.
or Rebecca. While Rebecca was here, she did a super great job pinch hitting and doing a good job. So just learning who to go to, and and then I think also like just learn. I knew there was a lot I had to learn about like what happened in the church, like behind the scenes, like coming into this, like that's something I mentioned. Yes, on the front side. Mm-hmm.
In the first podcast. But I think now on the other side of it, there's so much, especially with Jason, who we worked with closely, that he does for the church and like everything that goes into it. And it was nice to be able to like help him out in that way and make it a little easier this summer for him. So it was cool. I
know he was talking and saying he's going to be really sad when you ladies leave, because you did so much to just help everything with the ministry go forward and make good progress and things like that. What are some of the lessons that you learned, Jessie?
I mean, I was going to say like the same thing, just learning like the nitty-gritty of ministry and just doing like those little details that people don't think about, I think. And then, just things that I didn't even know that some pastors or some, like Donna, do. And then learning everything about their job. And I would just remember in high school when I was asked, like, my brother's a youth pastor, and so people would always ask me, like, well, what does he even do during the week? He only works 1 day a week, basically, on Sundays. And
pastors only work 1 day a week, right?
Yeah, that was the big question that I remember getting so much of, like, what do they actually do? And I was never able to give, like, a full answer. I knew there was more, but I never gave the full answer, and now working.
Now working here,
I can give a detailed list of things that they do.
Yeah, that's really good. A lot of the curriculum stuff, you know, you need to, all the teachers have to be prepared and equipped to teach on Sunday morning. So whatever supplies they need, and
say not even that, but finding the people to do it.
So you're part of it. Making sure that people are scheduled and that you're well in advance out, and then you also have a plan B if someone gets sick or they're out of town or something happens. Like this podcast is not in our podcaster room today because we had a power outage this morning, and the power came on after moving 3 times. So we're not in the podcaster room this morning, and for good reason, because we were tired of moving around. But we tried one thing. Oh, look, the generator's on. It's not going to work. Okay, let's try the other thing. Oh, the hospital's generator's on. It's not going to work. Even though we had beautiful birds, we could have had bird sounds in our podcast. Maybe I could add those in.
Bird sounds and
Yeah, the would not have been so good. So this is the best alternative. Plus, we get to sit in comfy chairs now.
Yep, that's true.
So that's like ministry. Sometimes you just try something. It's like, nope, that's not going to work. Or, hey, let's try this other thing. And that's really good. So you have to be flexible in ministry. And there's a lot of things that, you wouldn't want to be the person to say, that's not in my job description. Not going to do it. It's like, no, it may not be in your job description, but if you want to be a team player, and we do want, I think you women were just great team players. So we do have a book that I read, or I think our staff worked through. It's called The Ideal Team Player. And so you want to be humble. You want to be hungry. You want to help people get stuff done outside of your area of expertise or, responsibility. And then you want to be smart in the way that you deal with people. You're not blowing up stuff. You're working through people issues well. And we always have bumps in the road that we have to work through and that kind of thing. But we want to be humble, hungry, and smart. And if we're like that, then we're going to be a really good team player. Yeah. And I think that both of you women are that. So,
thanks.
Good job. What did you learn about yourself during this internship, would you say? Or some of the things that you learned about yourself?
I think I learned that I like the background work a lot more. Like, I don't know, I love people and I love talking to people, and I always thought that was like the forefront of my mind is talking with people, and it is, but I really do love the setting up and the detailed planning of it all. I think that was one thing that I kind of was like, oh, okay, that's something that I could actually be happy doing if need be kind of thing. So.
That's great. What about you, Eleah?
Mine was kind of a little the opposite, and I think maybe both of us, this was a little about VBS and how things played out, but I think going into it, we were both like, oh, we'll both be up on the stage talking and things, and then it ended up just being me, and I was like, oh, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about this. And I ended up actually really liking it, and it was fun to get the kids engaged and call them up and have them come up and give their answers and tell about what they learned that day. And it was cool to see we didn't even really talk about our roles doing it, but it kind of just fell into place and worked out so well.
Except 5 minutes before the 5-minute timer came up for the first one to start, and I ran to Eleah and I was like, I didn't think about the welcoming. It had both of our names, but I was like, we didn't even talk about it because there was so much other stuff to focus on. And so she was like, I've been thinking about it, and I was like, go ahead. I was like, I'm fine with that because I was taking pictures, and that's something that I really like to do is take those pictures and to interact with the kids while they're dancing and one-on-one and or in little small groups. I just really liked that of being able to travel around and talk to the different kids and different groups and not have to be
not front and center, but kind of more behind the scenes friendly. And you got a lot of great photos of kids interacting and good videos and stuff, and that's really needed because when you have something like a VBS that really helps carry our mission forward as a church and reaches a lot of people, and we'll get to our numbers and decisions for Christ in a little bit later in the podcast, but it's really, really awesome to be able to chronicle it so then you can have all that footage for next year's inviting people to be involved, and it's just really cool.
And I think parents just like to see what their kids are doing throughout the week.
What are you doing with my kids?
You drop them off for 3 hours.
They come talking about it, later. It's like, wow, they're having so much.
Why are they screaming huzzah?
Right, there's a good reason why, and if I think that's good. That's a great way to get more people involved and realize that when you have kids together with God's Word and good Bible teaching and you have so much fun, the truth can just sink down even that much deeper into a kid's life. And they'll probably still be saying huzzah for a couple more weeks, at least into the fall season probably. Yeah. And that's all good, rise the prize, so got to do that. If you missed out on that, just talk to any one of the kids in our congregation. Any one of our kids will tell you what's going on.
Yeah. Or watch the last sermon.
Yeah, you'll get a little bit of D-Rock and Rupert in there. So that was really fun. I loved, and thank you so much for asking Jake and I to be a part of VBS. Yeah. I think that was just right in our sweet spots, and we just really loved it.
You guys were perfect. I couldn't imagine anybody else doing that. It went so well.
I remember reading the two characters, and I was like, this is Ryan and Jake. There's no one else for this but Ryan and Jake.
And I know that Jake was struggling to not talk like D-Rock.
Yeah.
He was kind of
I'm very strong and very stronger. And so it's so funny. Yep. So that's good. You learned about yourselves. What did you learn about serving? Maybe it's the same question. Maybe we can move on to a different one. Serving in the church, with all the different groups and peoples and stuff.
I feel like I learned a little bit about patience and just taking everything with a grain of salt and just going to everything in prayer first before having a human reaction to things. And in the church you work with a lot of different people, and especially us, we work with kids, we worked with adults, parents, things like that.
Right.
And with VBS, there's just so many people involved. And
yes, there's a lot of people involved.
Yeah, and so sometimes, I don't know, sometimes people can be hard to work with, but it was cool how we were able to just work with that and still have things come out great in the end and be completely fine with.
Right. Sometimes we can think that the perfect ministry experience would be no problems and no glitches, no bumps, no power outages, and then it would just be perfect, But life isn't like that ever, hardly ever. I mean, so if you want a perfect marriage, there's going to be some not perfect parts in it, but you work through it. If you want a good teaching. I'm going to forget the name of your student teaching experience again. I forgot it on Sunday when we were getting ready to send you out. It's you're going to be teaching and with students and with another teacher. What do you call that? Oh yeah, student teaching. So that nothing in life is perfect, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be bad then. No. It's going to be good. And it's just in the working through. Someone trying to get into the church building?
I think she kept walking. I could see her, and I was
down in the podcaster room, no one bugs us, So now out here in the public view, it's what are they doing in there? They've got cameras and stuff. Doing an On Our Way Home podcast. That's what we're doing. Did you want to answer that question too? I got distracted.
I think. And this was a lesson that I've been learning for a while now, but this job kind of added to it. And I don't want it to sound bad, but it's you can't make everybody happy. That's one thing that I always strive to do. What? You can't make people happy? No, not every single person. You mean I'm responsible for my own happiness in making that choice? I'm responsible? Oh. Who would have thought? Who'd have thunk it? Yeah. So, right, you can't make people. So, do you tend to struggle with people-pleasing kind of stuff? Yeah. Yeah, I am definitely the type. I do too. Where, if you want me to change it to make you happy, okay, and so then I do it, and then another person would be happy, and I'm well, so, this isn't going to work out very well. Right. So you just need to do the best thing for the team. The best that you can do. Right. The best you can do. And it's not going to, it may not be perfect. Yeah. Yeah. Because you can't make everybody happy. Nope. Yeah. No. And sometimes you just have to look back at what are you doing this for? And then is this the best for what it is for kind of thing? And and if it is, and you should go with it. Feel peace from it. Then right. And I do appreciate what you had to say also about praying for the situation before it gets started. I think praying for the situation is really, really helpful. And that's really, really good. Another question is, how did what you thought might happen match with what you saw happen or experience happening?
I don't know. I feel like going into it, I didn't really know what all to expect.
Yeah.
But I feel like on the other side of it, it is sort of what I expected, but also at the same time, like with some added onto it, like in a great way. Like obviously coming in, neither of us knew that there'd be, well, once we got the job, we knew that there'd be two of us. But like when applying for it, like I thought it would be just me. She thought it would be just her. Like if like we got it or whatever. And so it was cool to be able to have like somebody to like partner with to do it. And I think we got along super well. And like we hang out even outside of it. Like
she birthed my puppies.
Wow.
Yeah. And by the way, how many puppies did you have?
9.
So did you find homes? Did you find home for all your puppies?
We have one for sure, and then a bunch of people are just waiting to see. Not a bunch.
Yeah, some people.
Some people are waiting to see what the personalities are.
Oh.
But if you're like a puppy, hit me up because I don't want to keep them.
Right. So
really
you and your husband were away on a little trip thing, and so and you were
house dog sitting.
Yes, and then puppy sitting in addition to dog sitting. Right.
Yep.
That's pretty. Yeah, that's a lot of puppies.
She's got something more to add to her resume.
I didn't expect to have that after the summer, so that's cool.
Yeah, that's one of those things on your, you didn't know it was on your bucket list, and it's like, ta-da, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
and then
8 and 9, right? So that's a lot of puppies.
Yeah, after seeing the 8th and the 9th, I'm happy I didn't see the 1 through 7. I was like, I don't want to see it.
So that's really good, and I'm really glad that you were able to have this experience together, because then it's not just your experience. Now you can share in it with someone else, and now you can, because sometimes we might have a perspective where we might not always see things, clearly just on our own, and then when you have another perspective, that just really helps you to be able to get a more well-rounded. I thought that was really bad. It's like, no, didn't you remember this other thing that happened? It's like, oh yeah, that was a good, so you might forget about some of the good stuff and things like that.
Yeah.
What did you learn about staff, and what would you say about the staff? And I'm in the room, so you can say whatever you want to say. It's all good.
I think it was just along the lines of what we said earlier, that y'all do more than, like, I knew y'all did a lot, but there were some little things that I just didn't even realize that y'all did.
Yeah.
And like there were some jobs like Rachel's. I didn't know exactly what Rachel did.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting coming in and learning about what she did and how much that she does.
Yeah, Rachel.
I had a newfound major respect for her after coming in here and seeing everything that she does for the church and everything, like all the events. I don't know how she does that on top of having another job.
Right.
I think that was one thing.
Yeah.
That I was just like, wow.
Yeah. Rachel's one of those humble, hungry, smart people, right?
Oh, she is.
Yeah. That's really, really cool.
Yeah, I think it was also cool, like, whether it was, like, through our meetings or, like, just interactions in our office. Like, I had so many conversations and...
Yeah, so you got to know people, actually.
Yeah, like, there were many days where I just, like, when Rebecca was here, we just sat and talked and, like... and it's just cool to, like, get to know people better, but also, like, there's such a good dynamic and the team works so well together. And I think
that's a huge praise to God right there.
Yeah, and it's really cool to see that because a lot of times there's, like, teams of people who work together that don't work well together. And in churches, too, like, that happens, I'm sure.
Right.
Yeah.
But you don't want to be all holed up in your silo, right?
Yeah.
I'm in my little business, and you guys need to let me do my business, and don't bug me. And that's not a really great team.
Yeah.
So you do have to have a good, you do have to work at being friends, So a lot of people would think, work relationships are just kind of like work relationships. But as staff, we want to be actual friends.
Yeah.
I think that's true.
Right. And, you think we are friends?
I think so.
Yeah. When you make a Ryan White mocha in the coffee house, in the Fika coffee bar, that's very nice.
Yeah.
I appreciate a nice little raspberry white mocha. Yeah. So you learned your baristaing skills too a little bit.
Yeah.
But you guys make great coffee, by the way.
Thanks.
Really nice.
Just don't ask for it hot. No, that's where I check out. I can do iced coffees all day long, but I can't do hot.
Yeah, it's okay. One of the last questions we wanted to talk about is, so an intern experience is something that's very helpful in your development in, not just professional, but ministry kind of thing too. How would you encourage people to prepare in advance of possibly having an internship in the future? Because we, as a church, discipling is that needs to be in our wheelhouse. If we're not discipling, we're actually being disobedient to Jesus, and that's a major bummer. So we want to be better at discipling, but then the disciple needs to also be doing some stuff coming in so how would you describe your path to becoming an intern, and because you accepted Christ when you were whatever age, and then how can people better, this is like a 40-minute long question, so
No, it's fine. Keep going.
Add the whole life story and then
yeah.
I'd say like now if somebody's like thinking a year out, like they want to do something like this.
Yeah, or 5 years out.
Yeah, or 5 years out, like I'd say think about, like, is it really something you want to do? But then also, like, you have to be ready to work. Like,
so that would be hungry, right?
Yes.
You got to be hungry. You got to be ready to go.
And just not, like, what you're given to do, but, like, make sure you do go above and beyond and, like, do it to the best of your ability, because that's how you get the best results. And I know it's not all about results, but it's also about, like, the place that your heart is into, and like just doing it with a willing heart.
Yeah, the Bible says that you want to serve not only when people's eyes are on you, but when also people's eyes are not on you. You want to be doing the same level of quality and working hard, because it's I think it says, I can't remember what verses it is. We'll have to put this maybe in the show notes afterwards, but it's the Lord Christ you are serving. I'm serving here in the church, but it's really Jesus I'm going to be responsible to, so they're his sheep, they're not my sheep. I want to be sure that I'm doing the best I can. How would you encourage people to prepare for a possible internship, if that's what God wants for them?
Yeah, I would just think just to have an open mind, that kind of fits along with, like, you're going to serve in multiple different areas. Like, there's going to be things that you go outside of your said label kind of thing, and then that's okay, and that's fine to do, and that's actually fun to do. Like, I had some of the funnest, that's not a word, but I'm going to say it for this.
Wow, you must be an English major. That's really,
No.
It is the most fun.
It is Yes.
It's the most huzzah-ish thing you can do.
I don't think that's a word.
No, that definitely is not a word.
But yeah,
So what's one thing that you did that was outside of your thing, you thought that was like, oh man, that was really fun? You can answer that also when we get...
The coffee bar.
The coffee bar was
fun.
It's fun. I really enjoy it. It's like, even for just our Monday meetings, like making coffee for everybody, or like,
so we're kind of we do want to start as close to possible as at 10 o'clock as if we can, but some people show up late, and then the coffee's being made, and so it just kind of gives this fluid vibe. We're all in together. We can talk more informally then. And so that's really, really good. Now, is there something else you wanted to say?
I was just going to answer that question, but it's okay.
Answer it.
Oh, I was just going to say, like, the welcoming, I didn't know that's what for sure we were going to be doing, especially how much we did, because, like, with VBS, and that was one thing that I remember the first Sunday I was freaking out about, because I was like, I don't want to do this.
Standing up in front of
in front of just everybody, and doing the welcome and everything like that. And then by the last one, I was still a little nervous, but, like, I was able to have fun with it and not pace and do weird steps as much and do toe touches. Apparently, Eleah and I are very synchronized when we're doing those.
Right, so that's good. I haven't watched my sermon yet that I preached from yesterday. I'm sure that there are things that I was like, oh, why did I do that? Or
huzzah.
I did a few too many huzzahs. That's what some of the. But it wasn't necessarily bad. But it's like outside of yesterday's sermon or last Sunday's sermon, I probably won't say huzzah. as much in the sermon.
Maybe just one or two times.
The kids were really into it.
They were.
You know,
They
so
did.
you could
They
hear,
were.
even when it was a quiet huzzah, the kids were, I heard they were like, there's a lot of huzzah, and there's a lot of stuff going on.
And even, and you could hear the adults sometimes say it too.
Yeah.
Right, yes, because praising God is really important, and we want to be after that, so.
I will say, being in the broadcast room, you move a lot more than Pastor Joel does.
Oh, yeah, I was moved.
Those camera angles were like cranking it. I was literally like, he's out. And Caleb would have to like watch it as well. We had to have both of our eyes on it because you would just like go off in one.
Yeah.
Which
them
was
on their
fine.
toes.
It's so lively. I think
Yeah.
it's so incredibly lively, but for the camera angles, it's a little rough.
I didn't want y'all to be bored in there, so I was.
We definitely were not
Nobody's falling
bored.
asleep on your watch.
Oh my goodness. We
Yeah.
ended up having to zoom one camera angle just out.
Yeah,
So we
just
didn't
wide.
have to keep cutting
Let's get
it.
a wide shot on, because he's moving, yeah.
I need a break, center wide.
Yes,
But-
that's good, yeah. And yeah, that's really great. Awesome. Now, reviewing VBS.
Yeah. I guess I'll do the numbers because I have those in my brain.
Okay, you got the numbers
she's
in your
better with
brain.
numbers.
So we had 116 kids register throughout the week. The most kids we had come on one day was 96, but
Yeah, that's
throughout
really,
the week,
that's good.
116 kids walked in the doors, which
That's
is
awesome.
amazing.
Yeah, that's really great.
We had 55 volunteers.
Which is more than we could have imagined.
Did you think you were going to have that many volunteers?
Nope, thought like 30
Yeah.
Oh,
tops.
wow. Wow,
Like,
so it's like double the amount.
Yeah. We were also really blessed to have a lot of like middle school aged kids help out, and that was
man.
so good. And they surpassed our expectations, and they did amazing with the kids, and just like they even like built relationships with each other. Each other, which was really cool to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
the youth,
awesome.
The youth definitely had like hungry hearts this year, I think, to
Yeah.
serve. They were all so in it
Yeah.
and there and with the kids, but also able to like have fun serving with each other at the same time.
Yeah.
It was the most amazing thing to watch, from like seeing them grow in like the youth ministry, even just the past year, and then to see them with the youth, with the younger kids. It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah, there's a kind of a critical age when you're too old for VBS, but you still would maybe like to be involved some way. And so I think that this year was a great opportunity for us to see this is what you could do, you know, so even like casting the vision for that for younger kids, it's like, you know, when you're in 5th grade, 6th grade, going into 6th grade for the summer, you can still have some of those little 1st and 2nd graders, they need to have a older kind of shepherding influence.
But it's also cool to like get them, it's kind of their first time they're serving, other than like our serve Sundays and things like that. Like it's their first real experience, like directly in ministry in a way, which is really cool.
Yeah, and we need to help provide opportunities for that. And I think that VBS is a super great opportunity.
Yeah. We already have Cohen Hamilton. He wants to go to Honduras because he heard that there's going to be like a VBS opportunity there. And so he said that he's been wanting like to serve in VBS again, and he loves helping with the kids. So when he heard about the Honduras one, he was like, I want to go.
Wow, that would be really great. Yeah, we have a trip coming up. Is it in April?
It's in April 14th through the 21st, I believe.
So be praying about that, everyone at Cornerstone. If God wants you to be a part of our Honduras, we have an ongoing great relationship with Eleah Dante down in Honduras, and super great experience. My daughter Linnea and I have been able to go down there one time in 2016. Super awesome, and we'll be going in April. So be praying about that. If you'd like to go down and help, that would be good. We've had some kind of difficulties in making sure we had enough people to go on the trips in the past, just with schedule and COVID and other stuff like that. So we definitely do want to take another trip back down to El Ayudante.
But back to the numbers.
Back to the numbers.
Okay, so we had students, volunteers, and then over the course of the week, we had 14 kids that came to know the Lord, which was amazing.
Those were first-time decisions for Jesus, right?
Yes, first-time decisions. And like one kid would have made it all worth it, but 14
Right.
was like, I got goosebumps just talking about it. But like,
it's amazing.
It was just amazing to see, and just see how engaged the kids were. And then we raised money for Urban Transformation Ministries down in Grand Rapids.
Yes.
Which we actually got to meet Davo and Rodella a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Davo and Rodella are legit.
Yeah.
They're the best, yes.
So we were going into this thinking we'd raise, maybe $500, and that'd be amazing. Like, that'd be a huge blessing to them. And we raised, let me get the number. It's 1,000, which is crazy.
Yeah, and it's more than that.
$1,192.12.
So that doubled our expectations as well.
Double expectations for volunteers, double expectations for amount
students.
was able to students, and also for people that were able to give. That's just, and the amount we're able to see raised for that. So every $5 will kind of equate to at least one conversation. And kids down in Grand Rapids, they love the food that Davian and Rodell are able to bring, because then that just gives them a great, food and fellowship, friendship, kind of all go together. So that'll be a great way for them. And Urban Transformation Ministries is all about giving the gospel so that the fatherless cycle that can happen in communities can be reversed. And they're doing that through discipling people. So it's really exciting when you have people that are doing cool stuff for God, and then you can join with them. And then that's just a double blessing. So Rodell is doubly blessed. We're triply blessed. I don't know. It's just really cool to be a part of stuff like that.
Yeah.
Any other review stuff from VBS that you want to talk about?
I can't think of anything.
know.
Those were just the major numbers that surpassed all expectations.
We just had a ton of fun.
It was
just went
awesome.
so well. I mean, it went by so fast. I can't, thinking about it, I'm like, wait, it already happened? It doesn't feel like it already happened.
The decorations are down. And we were able to share our decorations we were able to give them to another church to use so that, that they can be blessed by that as well.
Yeah, church up in Traverse City.
Yeah, that's super great. Yeah.
This is going to be their first week back after COVID. And they've said that their church has gone from 50 members. Yeah. I think it was, he said before COVID, to now they're over 200.
Okay.
After.
That's really, really
they're
good.
Not really knowing what to expect from their VBS because it's their first time. So maybe be in prayer
hopefully
for them
that'll be that'll be really awesome. Yep, that's really great. Well, I really appreciate you being on the podcast again. This is the wrap up to Once Upon a Time There Were Two Interns. So
the end.
Yeah, now we can say, and they had a great internship experience, learned a lot about themselves, learned a lot about Cornerstone and ministry, learned a lot about the Lord and how He can deliver and provide even abundantly more than we ever ask or imagine.
Yes.
So that's really awesome. We are glad that you have been a part of watching and listening to the On Our Way Home podcast, and we will catch you next time.
See ya.
Peace.